We're beginning a discussion about vector functions and space curves. So as a reminder, we have two different kinds of curves that we're going to be focusing on, a plane curve and a space curve. A plane curve is a curve that exists entirely inside some plane. Most of the time, that would be a curve existing in the xy plane. But we do also see plane curves in three-dimensional space, and that means essentially a curve that exists entirely within some plane. So let's say we move to the plane x is equal to 5, meaning we move out in the distance of x 5 units, and we slice with that plane. We could have a plane curve that exists entirely within the plane x is equal to 5 as well. When we're discussing a plane curve in R2, that is two-dimensional space, the xy coordinate plane, we can use a vector function to describe that curve, and a vector function could be given by r of x is equal to the parametric equations f at t and g at t used as the components for the vector function. What that means is that our r at 0 vector would be a vector determined by plugging 0 into the f parametric equation and 0 into the g parametric equation. We would then get the position that is the terminal point of a vector. So we would say our vector r naught, or r sub 0, or r evaluated at 0, would be a vector terminating at some point on the curve. And then we keep plotting points like this to get the value of the parameter 1 plugged into my functions, my parametric functions that serve as the components of my vector function. And that's going to give me then another vector that points to some different point on the curve, and this would be our vector r1, or the vector function evaluated at 1. And we keep going like this, plotting points, which gives us basically vectors that terminate at points that are on the curve. Now, when we have a space curve, or even a plane curve that exists inside that plane x is equal to 5, like we mentioned before, if we had some curve existing in this plane, we would still be using a three-dimensional vector function in order to describe that curve, be it a plane curve or a space curve in three-dimensional space. We'll be plugging a value of the parameter into the vector function. This is considered the independent variable here. And we would determine an output that is a vector. And that vector output is going to be determined, or the components will be determined, by plugging that parameter or that independent variable into each of the individual components. So the vector that we get out will be a position vector, where its initial point is at the origin, and its terminal point is going to be determined by the outcome of these parametric equations. So when we plug in the value t is equal to 0, we get an output vector that we'll call r evaluated at 0. When we plug in the independent variable quantity 1, or the value of the parameter 1, we'll plug that 1 into each of those individual components, and then the output is going to be the corresponding vector that has a terminal point landing at the ordered triple that corresponds to these components. So we keep plugging in values of those independent variables. We'll plug 2 into the parameter and get an output that is a vector terminating at a point that is on the space curve. We plug 3 into the vector function and we get the output that is a vector, we'll call it r evaluated at 3, that terminates at an ordered triple that is a point on the space curve. So our vector function can be thought of as tracing out the space curve with its terminal point, right? The initial point will always be at the origin, and the terminal point of the vector function is going to be tracing out this curve in three-dimensional space. Now, just to come back to the scenario, when we have a plane curve existing within the plane x is equal to 5, we would end up with some sort of a vector function that had a constant x value. The x value of each of the ordered triples that are on this curve are going to be 5 because this curve exists entirely in the plane x is equal to 5. So all these ordered triples are going to be 5 as the x coordinate, some y value, and some z value as the ordered triple. So the vector function is going to have a constant x component, and then the y component will depend on the value of the parameter, and the z component will depend on the value of the parameter. So in that plane curve, the x component of that vector function would be the constant value 5. The vector function of a line in three-dimensional space is something that we need to start to recognize. In the same way that from algebra, we recognize that if I have 2x plus 2y is equal to 7, I recognize that that's going to end up being a line. And I've also memorized that the preferred graphing form of the line is y is equal to mx plus b. This is something that we have simply memorized, right? We know that if we have two variables, x and y, and both of them are raised to the positive 1 power, then this is a linear equation in two variables, and it's going to have a graph that's a line. Similarly, in our multivariable calculus class, we need to recognize that this is the form of a line in three-dimensional space. So again, to kind of draw these similarities out a little bit more, our graphing form for the equation of a line in algebra is y is equal to mx plus b, and from this we get two pieces of information. First, we get the y-intercept, that is 0b, that is pulled straight out of the equation of a line. And secondly, we essentially get, I'm going to call it direction. In this case, it's actually the slope, and when we were in algebra, we called it the slope. But basically, the slope is giving us the direction of a line. In calculus, it is very similar, right? We have a graphing form, which is r at t, a vector function. Notice my r has a vector hat. This is absolutely essential to have a vector hat on top of anything that is a vector. We have this written in pointy bracket notation, which is totally fine, also an approved notation for vectors. But if we wanted to write it in IJK notation, we would need the vector hats again. So in IJK notation, this would look like x naught plus at, which is the component in the direction of x, so we'll put that as a multiplier on my I vector. The y naught plus bt is the component in the direction of y, so that's going to be multiplied by my j vector with a vector hat. And then z naught plus ct is the component in the direction of z, so that's going to be a multiplier on my k vector with a vector hat. So if I go IJK notation, we definitely need the vector hats. But let's then notice that what we get when we have a vector function in this form. Number one, we get a point on the line, and that point on the line is going to be essentially x naught, y naught, z naught. We also, when we have a vector function in this form, get a direction vector. So we get a point and the direction, just like we did in algebra. But the direction vector is going to be the coefficients on the t parameter in each of those components. So a, b, c is the direction vector for a line in this form. So let's look at a quick example. We recognize that this is the equation of a line in three-dimensional space. We also know that when we're given an equation in this form, we get a point on the line, and the ordered triple that's on the line is going to be the scalar quantities 1, 2, and 3 here. But we also get a direction vector, or a vector in the direction of our line. We'll label it with v. And the direction vector are going to be the coefficients of the t values. So it's going to be 2 is my x component, negative 1 is the y component, and then positive 1 is the z component. Pointy brackets indicating here that it is a vector. And now we're ready to graph this line. So we come out to the ordered triple, 1, 2, 3, that's on the line. So 1 in the direction of x, 2 in the direction of y. we'll go up 3 in the direction of z. Here is our ordered triple that is on the line. Now from here, we're going to move in the direction of that line, which is 2 in the direction of x, -1 in the direction of y, and 1 in the direction of z. So from here, we'll go 2 in the direction of x, -1 in the direction of y, so out this way, and then +1 in the direction of z, and that gets me to another ordered triple that is on this line in three-dimensional space, and we'll do our best to just connect these two dots here to get our line L. Now, let's go over to Geogebra to verify our answer. So here we are in geogebra.org. We're going to start our calculator, and then if you don't already have it, you can select the 3D graphing calculator from this drop-down list. So now we'll simply put in our vector function that we're testing. We called it r, and lowercase r or lowercase letters are what we use to get vectors. So we'll just put in r is equal to 1 plus 2t, comma, 2 minus t, comma, 3 plus t, and then we'll close our parens here, and we'll see that we do end up with a line. And actually, this does seem to be pretty consistent with where our line was headed in the first place. We had a point at 1, 2, 3, so 1 in the direction of x, 2 in the direction of y, and 3 in the direction of z, and then we were kind of headed off in this direction. So this looks pretty close to what we had in our drawing.